Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm getting beaten, yo. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube.
Good morning, my coffee club. Happy to Tuesday,
Right here
February
on the Bullhorn
17th.
Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
my beautiful coffee beans. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We are covering true crime. We have been covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. And today we're diving deep into 4 major updates in the Nancy Guthrie case. The 84-year-old mother of Today's Show star Savannah Guthrie has been missing for more than 2 weeks, taken from her Tucson home in the middle of the night. And folks, the developments from this weekend are absolutely massive. And we have 4 major developments that we're covering in today's episode. And it's Brian Enton's exclusive reporting from the scene, the DNA evidence that could crack this case wide open, the FBI's unprecedented investigative tactics, and why the sheriff just cleared the entire family. So guys, let's get into it. Before we do, I want to say good morning to all of you. As you know, we have quite a few people in the chat. Let me get this up. I see we got a line in my face and it's driving me nuts. So let me go ahead and fix this real quick. There we go. There we go. There we go. It is nice to see everybody. Good morning to my beautiful coffee beans. Melanie always starting us out with good morning, Betty. And Delilah, it's nice to see you, my love. I hope you're doing well. Denise, West Side Crime Show, it's nice to see you. And oh, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Guys, the best way you can always help this channel is by a thumbs up. If you'd like to donate or give a tip or contribution, we do appreciate it. We really do. But it's definitely not required for this show. And we absolutely thank all of the people that financially sponsor our channel, including our members. So thank you guys every single day for coming here, showing up, and helping us out with this show financially. We appreciate that. Petunia, it's nice to see you. Mothra, it's nice to see you. Good morning, Melanie. Saying happy Tuesday, Betty, Delilah, mods, and chat. Sending love to everyone. I hope everyone has a good day. Prayers to whoever may need them. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for our BHB. She's the best. Thank you. Thank you so much, Melanie. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Sonia, it's nice to see you. Claudia's 40 suspects. That's what we're hearing. That's what we're hearing. We're going to break it all down today in today's show. Are we going to be here 2 hours? We have a 2-hour show, folks. But I have a funny feeling this is going to spill over to 3 or 4 hours by the time we start talking. I start getting into this stuff and we just start working the case, you know? Hot damn! It's nice to see you, my love. I hope you're doing well. Stacy, likewise, it's nice to see you. John, welcome back. It's nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Reporting for duty, he says. True crime junkie, it's nice to see you. This is what we're hearing, folks. This is what we're hearing. We're going to get into all of it. That's why we're breaking the news, right? And we're not the ones that broke the news. Actually, Brian Enton's the one that broke the news, but we're just piggybacking on Brian Enton because I'm pretty sure many of you guys cannot possibly be all these places at once. Leslie, it's nice to see you. Tina, Jamie, Cindy, it's nice to see you. Kathleen, good morning. Amber, it's nice to see you. Who else? Skybell, good morning. Good morning. Happy Cappy, it's nice to see you, love. Guys, if you would do me a solid, go out there, hit that thumbs up button, come back into the chat. Tell us what number you are on the thumbs up. Tell us where you're from, if you're from overseas, if you're from the States. And if you're from the States, tell us what the temperature is. This is a great time. We're all getting up, getting the crud out of our eyes. We need to get our Doppler, radar in play here. And so for Manatee County, Florida, which is kind of West Coast Florida, right? I wouldn't say central West Coast, but we're West Coast Florida, closer to, more northern, but not. We're kind of, anyways, Manatee County, we're 60 degrees. Our high today is going to be 78, so it's going to be pretty hot. I hear we're going to be cooling down. We have a front that came through. It is cooler in the mornings. We're at 55 degrees, but that's for us. That's for us. And I'm in Florida. Again, many of you guys are cold. If we have people from Tennessee, that's the forecast that I'm worried about right now. If you guys don't know, we're going to be in Sebastian's Army is going to be doing an event in in Sumner County. That's Hendersonville, Tennessee. If you guys would like to come out and support a great cause, we're going to be honking for Sebastian. He disappeared when he was 15 years old. He's now 17 years old. He hasn't been seen or heard from since. The sheriff is not doing a damn thing on the case. The place is corrupt as all get out. And so we're going to remind the community that we still have a missing young man in their community and that we still need help bringing him home. And we pray to God that the suspects, which I believe will ultimately be his mother, hurt him very, very bad. And I believe that his stepfather helped her cover it up. So we'll see where we are at the end of this and everything like that. But we'll be out there from the 23rd through the 27th. We will be giving you guys your daily updates on the Nancy Guthrie case as we're out there. But this is going to be an event. I have had it with the sheriff, so I'm going to be speaking turkey with the sheriff, right? I'm going to be on my bullhorn every 5 minutes at the top of the hour. We're going to be out there for 8 to 10 hours a day. And we're going to be letting the community know and breaking down this case before the community so there's no misunderstandings about this case so far. And then we're going to ask the sheriff to provide the world an update because we are entitled to something. And I don't want to hear anybody saying we're not entitled to anything. He works for the people. He's paid by the taxpayers. We are entitled to information. That we are absolutely entitled to. Federal funds were provided for this investigation. That means we, the people, paid for a lot of this investigation. We, the people, have a right to know what in the world's going on, especially when we haven't heard anything from anybody for 2 years. Enough's enough. So, Amber, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? We have John, Happy Cappy. I think we said hi to all of you. Tasha, it's nice to see you. TD Dean, hello, my love. Jamie, it's nice to see you. Melanie, I think we already said hi to you. I think I've said hi to most of you guys. Handsome man. Is this a live broadcast? Yes, handsome man. I hope you're truly handsome. The question is, are you looking for arm candy? No, I'm just joking. Handsome man. I'm just joking. Baby love, good morning. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Lady for Justice, Steph, it's nice to see you. Blue-eyed, hello. I hope you are doing well. Pete's, it's nice to see you up in the chat. Good morning. That's about as much as I was able to get. Alicia, it's nice to see you. Cindy, Missy Motormouth, it's nice to see you. Mayflower, Laura, Danielle, it's nice to see you. Little Orange Man. Boogie, hey, love. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're handsome man. Hey, all the women are turning their heads now, saying, "Hey, handsome man, how you doing? Now the question is he really a man? No, I'm just joking. We have to ask in today's society. Don't be hating. Don't be hating. Blue skies and sandy beaches. It's nice to see you. I hope you guys are doing well, guys. So we do have some information coming out. Let's just go through a couple things, okay? Many of you guys know this has been a crazy case. I mean, to absolutely say the least, this has been an absolute crazy case. Actually, let me do the right side there. There we go. So let's just go back a little bit.
To come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late, and you're not lost or alone, and it is never too late to do the right thing, and we are here, and we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
So she's appealing to the person's humanity, right? She's desperate. Her mom's been gone. She looks exhausted. Yeah, she does, Rena. It's absolutely horrible. Because people, you know, when you see people on this whole thing, sorry, I've got autofocus set up on this. I don't know why it keeps setting up. I keep turning it off, but it keeps, because I need to update. Hold on, let me, I did adjust my camera, move my camera today, so it might have something to do with the adjustment. I think that clear, it doesn't look too clear. Give me a second, folks. I'm adjusting myself. Yeah, that looks good. Sorry. Sometimes you gotta. I don't have a producer. I don't have anybody behind the scenes that fixes this stuff for me on this fly. Heavenson, it's nice to see you. Not with siblings anymore. Past 2 posts, just her. Yeah, that's true. That is true. We have noticed she's not with, because I think if this is somebody for her, we'll get into that in just a second. But great perspective. Great perspective. So we've got this, and of course we've got the information related to the suspect. Let's look at this suspect stuff again. This is from the FBI. Okay, so that was from the FBI. And that's one of them. This is the other one that was released from the FBI. So that is video 2 from the FBI, right? So we're going to start out with a journalist that's been on the ground since the beginning of this. This is News Nation's Brian Enton. He's been living basically outside of the Guthrie home, covering every development. This weekend, he sat down for an extensive one-on-one that revealed just how complex and frustrating this investigation is. And some of the key points that he stated in this was like 2 weeks into the investigation, and there's still no arrest. We have no arrest. DNA testing results are pending. It could take 24 to 48 hours, and this is the part that we were talking about earlier on when we were reading reports that there was some back and forth between the feds and the locals because they use a lab in Florida. This is hindering how fast this procedure is done as far as uploading that profile into CODIS because of the fact that it went to a Florida lab. Apparently now the results have to go back to the sheriff. The sheriff now has to input that profile into the system for it to be sent to the FBI to upload into CODIS. So it's extra processing versus just sending it to the FBI lab. Then as soon as they had it, they could have moved it right into CODIS. And so this is causing a delay and extra steps in order to get that profile into CODIS. So we're also going to be going over, he also goes over the FBI and sheriff office communication challenges, and of course, the signal sniffer technology being used to track the pacemaker. Many of us believe that that would have been more suited for a drone. And quite frankly, it does sound like it could have fit on the drone. It didn't need to be, it didn't need to necessarily be attached to the helicopter. It could have been on a drone and hovered the ground a little lower. And I think that they should consider doing that instead of giving up on that. That signal sniffer could be really good, but from what I'm hearing is there hasn't been any good results from it yet. Right? They haven't been able to locate somebody's pacemaker because of it from anything that I've been able to research. And I've done some research because I thought it was pretty interesting technology. But we are finding out that it is possible it can be strapped to a drone. A drone can get into smaller places. A drone can drop down much, much, much lower than a helicopter. And I think that they need to consider doing that. So there are a few things in this latest investigation that I do want to point out to you.
Tucson, Brian, it's good to have you back on stream. Let's just start with, how are you?
Hey, JB, it's good to see you too. I'm okay. Yeah, it's been a long, guys, 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I've been here today.
He looks exhausted.
I'm kind of lost track of the days, but no, everything's going okay. Just hoping maybe this will be the week where we finally, get some answers here, and
yeah.
Love to have a happy ending with Nancy Guthrie. So we're all just kind of on pins and needles,
Yeah, we all want a happy ending. Of course, we see Savannah Guthrie in her first video in several days being posted to social media. I want to recap our audience because, you know me, Brian, I'm going to kind of be a little bit unconventional with my first question here for you right off the bat. But in the last week,
he's
Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI.
Sorry,
then you have a person detained.
His camera, his volume went out. It wasn't our volume. It was his volume. Hey, Robin, it's nice to see you, Lady Justice. It's nice to see you guys. Come on in. We've got some new information, some probative information in the case of Nancy Guthrie, and we're breaking it down right now. So we have 4 reports that we're going to be following. These are the most recent reports that were released. We've got, let's just go, just for you, the folks that are just coming in, we've got this Brian Enton, this Q&A from Tucson, and this is on WFLA. We also have an upcoming segment coming, related to the signal sniffer. The third segment, we're going to be going over the CODIS DNA database, the genealogy, the investigative genetic genealogy testing. We've got some the FBI gun shop investigation. This is where you're going to want to pay attention. So in segment 4, we're going to be going over the 40 suspects. Folks, if you're listening, if you're looking at my thumbnail and you're saying there's 40 suspects, guys, it sounds like we have 40 suspects. Now, in the grand scheme of things, we went from 1 billion people, down to a few thousand people, down to a few hundred people, now to a short list of 40 people. We are making progress in the case of Nancy Guthrie. So if you guys are just tuning in, you're going to want to stay at least until segment 4 to get your breaking news on this. So right now we're breaking down the most up-to-date information that came out in the last 24 hours of the news cycle. We're on WFLA, where JB, hey JB, we've learned to love JB over the years. Me and JB, if you don't know, there's been a lot of journalists I've had a tug and pull with, okay, with the starting outs of our channel, and this because nobody likes to make way for new journalism, and as you can see, mainstream media is fighting social media as much as they can. If they can beat us with a club, they absolutely will beat us with a club, because we're taking their jobs away little by slow, and it's unfortunate, but they did it to themselves. So me and JB don't get along. Actually, I think JB blocked me several years ago. Maybe he's unblocked me now. I don't know. But I digress. Either way, hey JB had this Q&A with Brian Enton, and Brian Enton is very knowledgeable out at the scene. If you guys know, I was camped out in front of Gabby Petito's house. I met Brian Enton. Brian Enton and I spoke almost every day for 5 weeks, along with Mike Ruiz, which is out there with Fox News. And these are 2 people out there, along with JLO DVLR, which has been kind of giving us a front and center view all day, every day of what the goings and comings in front of that house are. It's been very important and very important for people that can't be out there like us. So this has all been working together. And so now as information comes out, we break it down for all of our audience members. And you guys are just getting up in the morning. I'm usually the first true crime show during the morning. So as people are waking up and haven't had an opportunity to see all the breaking news, we'll cover it here on this show first thing in the morning. And so we have the emotional plea from Savannah that we just heard, and this was entering in the second week, where she is begging the abductor or whoever has her mother to please find the humanity within them and let her go, give her back, is basically the message. And then now we're rolling over here with WFLA as they are breaking down questions for Brian Enton, and Brian Enton is starting to explain some stuff. When we get into the fourth segment, you guys will start hearing the breaking news of this show. We have some 40 suspects on this list that we're learning about today. And again, this is stuff that's being broken by Brian Enton, and we are going to break that down and dive into it. So if that's something you're interested in, just still stick around with me. And guys, please don't forget to like this video, comment in the chat, share this show, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for being here.
For questioning and released, followed by a nighttime SWAT operation leading to people in handcuffs, a tarp being put over a vehicle next to a Culver's, but no arrests or much of really anything that we know of out of that just yet. You have the glove statement that came out, and that glove statement was written in a way that was confusing to just about everybody, including yourself. You had to read it a few times and make sure that you were understanding it correctly. You have a local station there in Tucson reporting that this is just believed to be a burglary gone wrong, only for that to have cold water thrown on it. Plus, you have rampant speculation from TikTok.
Cold water thrown on it. Guys, I think, hey, Marissa, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. So we have to understand, I'm not sure if law enforcement is believing this burglary gone wrong, because it just doesn't fit either, right? So we're going to have to try to, and this is where your brains are going to need to think, because we're not here yet in the show, but we're going to get there. And you need to be thinking about all of these facts that we do have, okay? Let's just go through some of the basic facts that we have. We know this crime was done in the middle of the night. We know this crime was done in the middle of the night by a masked gunman, okay, that tried very, very hard to hide their identity, okay? We know that a camera from the front door was ripped off and taken with them. That means it was not left behind. It sounds to me like there were some glass fragments at the bottom or on the ground, implying that maybe a lens from that camera was broken. Does it have any usable DNA, prints, trace, anything? We don't know. Okay? We know that the assailant was comfortable enough to be around that house for 41 minutes. We know that the victim inside the home was forcibly removed. There's blood on the outside of the house. We don't know what's on the inside of the house. We can speculate, but factually, we don't know. Okay? So what we have is we have a masked intruder. We have a gunman, same person, but they're masked intruders one, but having that elevated gun is always a recipe for disaster, especially when somebody gets spooked, right? So we have those elements. We have 41 minutes around the house. We have been able to observe this person on camera, and they look very nonchalant out in the front trying to remove this camera, which to me, again, speculative, and we can't take it into consideration, but you guys have to use that as some of your theorizing, right? Is the how his behavior is on the outside of that home at that time. Okay, those are the facts. We don't have a whole lot to go off of. Okay, and the little bit that we do have, we now learn the family's cleared. And that was our biggest source and our biggest lead, is because the family was the last to see her. The son-in-law was the last to drop her off. Usually in true crime, we're always looking for the last person to see the person alive and a potential motive. And we can see a potential motive here as being financial with that aspect. But that's been cut off, right? It doesn't hold water. Their evidence and their and everything that they're investigating right now does not point to the family. As a matter of fact, everything that they stated, the family is cleared, including their spouses. So it's anybody else. It's anybody else. So now we have to come back to this drawing board with very limited information and try to build this case back again. Thank goodness many of us had multiple theories, not relying on just one. As a matter of fact, the family being involved was a theory until I saw this masked gunman. And then I realized that things weren't as they seemed. I didn't really believe that the family could be a party in this after that. I think something more here is going on, but now we have to fall on statistics in this case. And statistics tell us that burglaries at night are rare. Okay? They're very rare. Most people burglarize commercial buildings at night, and they rob houses during the day. Okay? That is the statistical makeup of our burglaries and robberies typically. Okay? So that tells us that this person was here for some other purpose, in my opinion. And I think this is why law enforcement has thrown that cold water that J.B. Buno was just talking about onto that theory of it being a burglary gone bad, because statistically, even that assessment defies logic and defies statistics. So we have to remember that. So I don't know what we're looking at here, but whatever our theories are, I have a funny feeling we're all wrong. Like, even me. I feel like we're all wrong here. Something else is going on, but what?
YouTubers, and just the general public that have kind of descended in on
So let's just back up a little bit, because there are new people in this chat that we're talking about. Let me just back up just a few moments so you guys can get caught up with us. It's nice to have you guys all here. I Spy, it's nice to see you. Melly, it's nice to see you. Jacob, Army Vet, Handsome Man, I said hi to you. Oh, Megan Nels, it's nice to see you. Love Bug, I hope you're doing well.
Read it a few times and make sure that you were understanding it correctly. You have a local station there in Tucson reporting that this is just believed to be a burglary gone wrong, only for that to have cold water thrown on it. Plus, you have rampant speculation from TikTokers, YouTubers, and just the general public that have kind of descended in on Arizona with the world watching. I don't know about you, Brian, but sounds like a pretty good time for a press conference, no?
Yeah, I mean, and every day we kind of wait to see if there's going to be one, and it's been more than a week now since there's been a press conference.
And in the Sebastian Rogers case, it's been almost 2 years. The last press conference we had from the sheriff in the Sebastian Rogers case was on April 2nd, 2024. April 2nd. He disappeared on February 22nd, or excuse me, February 26th, February 24th, 2026. Good gracious. Sorry. February 26, 2024, almost 2 years ago, he disappeared. And within 60 days, we had 2 press conferences. And after that, no more press conferences. And it's awful. It's awful.
From the Pima County Sheriff or the FBI. And it's a tricky one to cover, because they'll say like, oh, there's going to be no updates today, but then little sort of things, drip out. The FBI will put out a statement, or you'll suddenly, get a text from the sheriff with some information, which is great, but it's hard. It's been hard to track every day. It's been hard in that way. The communication has been a little tricky for sure.
And
I think we can all agree that the communication has been tricky. I mean, we've already had so many statements that the sheriff has put out and walked back. And he's done it so much that people are almost terrified to believe the cleared family statement. The only thing that gives me comfort is I know that statement wasn't put out by just the sheriff. It came from the sheriff's account, but I know that they're working hand in hand with the feds. So I have to believe that it was a joint statement, even though it wasn't presented as a joint statement. And, but I have to believe that they went through this whole family's life. I mean, we watched them. We watched them canvass Tommaso in Annie's neighborhood twice. We saw them go into her house. Folks, I mean, they did everything we needed them to do. Aw, thank you, Marissa. I appreciate that. They did everything that they needed to do over there. It's not them. And sometimes it's hard to, acknowledge that or accept that. And it's hard. But for me, once we saw the masked gunman, I knew we were dealing with before that, I really wasn't on board with the son-in-law. For some reason, I just wasn't. For me, it didn't fit because they had been there for 20 years taking care of her. Why now? But I had to still consider it because, look at Ashley Buzzard's case. Ashley Buzzard, she had, as a child, had been ran with her mother, on the run with her mother, trying to flee from her father. And of course, she had already fled the county or the state once before and went to Iowa with her daughter once before to avoid the other side of the family taking her daughter. So it was, for her to flee again, nobody, at least for me, I didn't believe she could hurt her child. And lo and behold, she did, And so, I've got to consider that there have been some things that make me not believe, something that church proved wrong. But again, I don't have an investigative file. The only people that have the information is law enforcement. And if they clear somebody, folks, they clear somebody. And until new information comes about that could convict them or change that assessment, they're cleared. Us harping on the same stuff over, it's not doing the case any good. So now we need to kind of broaden our horizons a little bit and start going out. There is somebody out there, and guys, there are 40 suspects on this list. So we're not talking about somebody close to the family. In my opinion, we're talking about random people. So why? That's where my stuff goes. Thank you so much, Veronica, because I'm a love machine. Ow! What about the bandmate? Are they still not around? I don't know, but you know what? Many people were looking at those photos. You got to remember, those photos that you guys were looking at were like from 20 years ago. These people in the band are like 50 and 60 years old now. Okay, we were looking, at least in my opinion, what we're seeing outside of that door was a much younger person, in my opinion. Planned kidnapping, 100%. Somebody did this, and I think it's starting to lean like she was targeted because of maybe Savannah's notoriety, but we don't know that for a fact. We just are hearing that Savannah's really considering not returning to the Today Show. And you kind of can't blame her because, I'm sorry. If this job here put my mom in jeopardy where she lost her life because of it, do you think I would be back on here? Because of you go into this, even though it's not our fault, you go into this blaming game. You blame yourself, right? And she's in that spot where she's blaming herself. And even though it's not her fault, there's nothing anybody can tell her to relieve her of this guilt that she is feeling right now. It is something that she's just going to have to work through. And there's nobody that's going to be able to make her work through it any quicker. It's got to be in her time and on her terms. But right now, she is blaming herself for everything that has happened here, and it's not fair. She didn't do this. People are allowed to be famous without being hunted down like rabid animals. You know what I'm saying? It's not her fault.
I know that Sheriff Nanos has been doing some spontaneous interviews. He'll pop up randomly, and I'm thinking, wait, he's providing updates, but only to certain people at certain times. But as far as, a press conference could go a really long way in setting the record straight. How challenging has this been for you to cover?
I mean, it's been challenging. I think they want to win. I mean, look, I think it's been back and forth between him and the FBI. And my sense is the FBI is probably telling him not to do any press conferences and to just play it cool right now while they continue to investigate and try to come up with something so that they can have a good update for a press conference. But I think, the sheriff has been under fire, and I think he wants to convey certain messages. And so they'll say that there's not going to be any updates, but then he'll text or he'll do he's close with a lot of the local stations here. So he'll do an interview with a local reporter, and then everyone will start contacting the sheriff's office trying to confirm that information. So it's been hard to cover in that way. But we just take it day by day, really. And just every day, it seems like something kind of comes out every day, something new. And you think it's slow. I mean, Friday night, there was the SWAT raid.
Yeah. Think about Friday night. Friday night, we were staring at a freaking house a half a day. But then all of a sudden, the SWAT vehicle moves and everybody's chasing around. So we're on like this, literally this hunt for this SWAT truck to find out what house they're gonna open up now, And now we're hearing 40 people. We haven't even got, if you guys are wondering about the 40, I haven't even showed you guys the receipts for the 40 individuals yet. So you don't have to worry about that. So one thing that I've realized from this show here is that, hoping maybe this will be the week where we finally get some answers here is the most notable quote. And we're all kind of on pins and needles. And I think that is a good expression of what we've all been dealing with in this case since the beginning. Did DePasso go inside that night? It sounds like he did. It sounds like he walked his feeble mother-in-law into the house, probably helped her up the stairs. I hate to tell you, Annie and Tommaso seem like great people. They don't make a whole lot of money. They take care of their family. And we're looking at these things so, and I understand we have to look at, because we don't know what happened. Now that they're cleared, we can kind of relieve ourselves from some of that skepticism. But it sounds on the fact of everything, it sounds like they were good people, folks. Okay. And you're right. They didn't make the money that the rest of the family did, which even should show you even more that they cared about their family, right? They gave up. They could have probably used some of that celebrity elbow grease and got a little further up the food chain if they so chose. But maybe for them, being around their mother and making sure their mother aged well and didn't have any problems was more of a priority for them. We don't know what the priorities of that family are. But obviously there was 3 children. They loved their mom. And they all took care of her. So, I have to think that it appears that he was a good guy. And at some point, we're all going to have to, I don't know if they had questionable buddies. I mean, I've kind of looked into them, Eric. They weren't bad. I mean, it's shit. You look at me. I mean, my 20s, good gracious. I'm just saying. I don't know if you guys know me, but I ain't a spring chicken, and I got myself into a lot of problems before I became this beautiful woman you see before you today. I was a problem child, and we grow. We get older. We're not that same punk, person that we were back in our 20s and 30s. We start growing up, But I got to tell you, if we were comparing rap sheets, I'm just saying, they look like church choir boys. Compared to that of my 20s. I'm just saying. You guys notice? You guys know those little spinny doors? That are at those nice fancy hotels that everybody likes to play around with. Remember that? Okay, that was me. That was me in the local county jail in my 20s, okay? I just got on that door, and I just liked spinning around. I like going in, and I like coming out, and I like going back in, and I like coming back out. Then I like going back in, and I like coming back out. And I just couldn't figure out what the hell I was doing so wrong out here outside of just not following the law. And then you know what I needed? I needed a good, quick, swift kick in the behind. And then all of a sudden, the nuts and bolts started, knocking into place, and the gears started moving properly. We started getting a little bit of Jesus, put on top of that, and then you got your go-go juice going in those little things. Next thing you know, you got a true crime content creator named Bull or Betty. Hobby. So, yeah, people have backgrounds. A lot of people do, believe it or not. There's a lot of people out there that weren't so upstanding. You guys wouldn't know that I used to not be such an upstanding citizen. Right now, I don't really worry about what law enforcement says about me, because I don't break the law. Okay? I know I don't break the law. I study the law before I go in there. I'm like, I don't even put that one toe over the line, folks. Don't even do it. I don't play. Not one toe. So what we're learning here is that, everybody's waiting on pins and needles. There's a press conference drought. They feel like a little infusion of good information. Life is a lesson. It sure is. And we all have a walk. And I like to go out here and let people know that you can't judge people for their walk, because you know what? Somebody that did something really bad back then may have done the work that they needed to get here. A lot of people come from horrible families. Not that I came from a horrible family, but I did have violence in my family. And so those things are hard to shake after they're drilled into your mind, your entire upbringing, right? You got to start changing people, places, and things. You got to start changing a lot of lifestyles and getting right with the good Lord and finding out why you're acting like a dumbass, right? And that's the most important part of it. Why are you acting like a dumbass? And so you got to do some work on yourself. And then once you figure out what's wrong with you, you quit being a dumbass, right? And you start working on yourself. So that's I don't want people sitting there judging too much, with people, because people that do shit in their 20s, when you're in the 40s and 50s, you ain't even thinking about the crap. You don't even remember. Let's be honest, okay? You don't even remember the crap you did in your 20s, okay? You're getting clubbed over your head about half the crap you don't even remember. You're like, did I really do that? Well, shit. Damn. I was a little more out there than I thought I was. Well, hot damn. Hot dog. Or using your name, hot damn. Okay. So let's get back on track. So at the end of the day, we have people that may be around people that don't, but they're in a band. I mean, I don't know how many people. Look at Dolly Vision. I mean, most of the people he was in a band with are felons. Okay. He's not in the band anymore with them, but let's face it, just because you're around band people that don't have the best background doesn't mean you're this monster. I mean, so it just put it into perspective. And the reason why I didn't really like Dominic from the very beginning is because I felt like he was too old. I'm sorry. When we didn't see the guy moving, when we didn't have the image of the masked intruder, yeah, we can develop in our mind all types of things. But once we see reality, well, that changes things. And I'm sorry, that person I saw moved much younger than a 50 and 60-year-old person. Okay? I'm 40. Almost getting to close to 50. You know what? I'm aging beautifully. I'm perfectly fine with it. I got the gray in my hair. I ain't trying to dye it out. Nothing. I'm okay. Okay? I'm okay with it. And I got to tell you, I kind of know how 40-something-year-olds move. And in all fairness, when you got to get up there in that 40s and 50-year-old, I don't think you can move without noise. I think that the cameras and the microphones might pick up the crackling of the bones, the snap, crackle, and pop that all of us, 40, 50, 60-year-old people, we get. I'm just saying, I'm thinking we would have heard a little more noise on the camera. That's all I'm saying. If it was Dominic, I'm just saying, I think we might have heard a little bit of the joints popping a little bit. You guys know, all you folks over the age of 50 know what the hell I'm talking about. You guys sound like a bowl of Rice Krispies in the morning. Don't lie. How many of you guys are Rice Krispies? For those that would like to put your hands up, I'm a Rice Krispie. Robert House says I just turned 66. So you're probably laughing because you know I'm right. You're probably laughing because you know I'm right. So what I'm trying to say here, in not such a funny term, is I don't think this person was a 50 or 60-year-old. So anybody 50, 60 years old is out. Okay? This person moved 30, probably 30 or younger. That's what a toe's cracking. That's what I'm talking about. Toes are cracking. There you go. So you guys know I'm a Rice Krispie treat. There you go. So I'm just saying that I think we would have heard some snap, crackle, and popping up on that front porch from that camera if we got a 50 or 60-year-old person there. So it's telling me just on that theory alone that we got somebody a little bit younger there. So that's why I'm not really looking at, because everybody in the Guthrie family, at least the siblings and their spouses, are in their 50s, mid-50s and 60s, okay? What I saw out there is not a mid-50s or 60s person. Now it comes down, they could have hired someone. Well, yeah, that's true. They could have hired someone. So let's look at that down the road, okay? We're gonna be talking about that a little bit more. But I don't think that fits either, but we'll get to it. So let's get back to this. I think we have another tidbit of information. This is the CODIS. I don't want to get into CODIS just yet. So we have 3 different things here. We have a press conference drought. We have the FBI versus the sheriff's tension. And then we've got investigation strategy concerns here as well. So I've got them bullet pointed as no official press conference in over a week. And I have to keep dovetailing back to Sebastian Rogers because these are going to be some of the things that I'm going to be complaining about in front of the sheriff's office next week or the week after next. We have information drip outs. That means that they're funneling information through one specific source. And the question is, why are they blocking out traditional media and social media and just providing one? It just doesn't make sense. I don't like how they're doing it. And it seems like it doesn't bode with our rules, our First Amendment rules. So, we have these drip outs from text messages and spontaneous interviews, and this is creating confusion and conflicting reports, which it's Luke's girlfriend. We're going to get into that too, because the day name, I don't think we're making the right leap. We might. I've got to look into that. I know about Kayla Day. I've been hearing about Kayla Day. I was watching it when the gentleman walked up to it and started explaining about Kayla Day, but I'm not convinced with everything related to Kayla Day just yet. But it could be. It could be, because if we can make the connection, which I have not personally seen the connection, the linkage behind the scenes in my reports yet, and I do pull. We'll get into some of the reports that I pull. I don't want to tell you guys everything, but we do pull reports here. So we have the FBI tension, and again, comes back to the glove. Sheriff wants to convey messages, but are frustrated. There's drama between them and the FBI, according to Enton. He knows this because he's been talking to people on both sides, he says. And then, of course, with the investigation strategy concern, are they telegraphing their playbook to the suspects? This is one of the things that they're talking about, is all of this information. Is it too much information in the public? Glove information, signal sniffer details are now public. Should they be public is the question. And there's a lot going on that they're not reporting, and that they would prefer stay secret for now. So that's kind of where we are. And then now we're going to be going into kind of this glove being found 2 miles from the home, the DNA inside the house. Guys, we have to remember there's DNA on the property, at Nancy's property, and we have DNA on a glove. Now, we know that this is not the only glove. There were 16 gloves collected and sent for testing. They are speaking of one glove out of all 16 gloves. And even though they have not told us that they've matched the DNA from this glove to the DNA they found on the property at Nancy Guthrie's house, I have to believe if they provided 16 gloves, all 16 gloves would have some form of DNA or biological material that can be tested. Okay? So why are they focusing on just one of these 16 gloves? And I believe it's because they've linked the DNA from inside Nancy's home to that glove. The sheriff sent samples to a private lab, still waiting on results as of yesterday because they sent it to the private lab instead of Quantico. Investigative genetic genealogies may have started, but I don't think they have because even though I'm hearing remnants of them starting, it's my understanding the FBI does not have the profile uploaded from that private lab, and that's what's holding everything up. And according to Itten's perspective, it says, I'm much more interested in the DNA they collected from inside the home that's not connected to Nancy or anyone in her inner circle because that's actually the crime scene. So why did they use the Florida lab versus the FBI lab in Quantico? They gave us an answer. I don't know how I feel about it. Time-sensitive nature with Nancy's health issues and comparison from Brian Koberger's to the genetic genealogy testing. That's all going to be upcoming in this segment. And furthermore, this signal sniffing technology, remember how I told you it could be added or attached to a drone. A drone, in my opinion, would be able to get closer to the ground and have better results with this signal sniffer. And we're finding out this device is only 10 inches by 6 inches. So you're not looking at a very big box. This could absolutely be attached to a drone. Just tape up a spray can of the camera lens instead of fisting it. Yeah, I know that it seems like this person should have had tape, glue, spray paint, something like that. Even oil, like WD-40, it would put a film on it that would distort the image. Like there's so much you could have done to that, to all the cameras there, that would have been a lot less violent to them, a lot less than if you're not violent with something, then you don't have to worry about, DNA or cells being, because if you're using a spray can, I mean, the only thing they're going to be able to do is test the type of paint it is and say, oh, it came from Rust-Oleum, red 002. And it's like, okay, well, they made 18 billion cans of, red 002. Where do we, it's so common we can't find it. It just seems a little bit easier that way, but that's not what we're dealing with here. And I think that if this helicopter, no matter how we look at it, the helicopter will never be able to get low enough for that to pick up that small signal in that pacemaker. It has to be lower. It has to be lower. They're not getting it low enough. So now we're going to go on to the CODIS and DNA. That's this. Oops, why didn't it start? Sorry.
But they are hoping that some new DNA evidence could change all that. Now, yesterday, the FBI told News Nation that they found a glove matching what was seen in that scary doorbell cam footage about 2 miles from Nancy's house, and that it contained DNA from an unknown male that had been sent in for testing. The problem is those tests are only half of it. I'm going to explain why. Because the FBI also says they're going to put that evidence into the combined DNA index system. It's better known as CODIS, to see if there are any matches. CODIS is the FBI database of DNA used to link crimes and suspects. We're talking 19 million offender profiles, over 1 million forensic profiles. It's
wow, 1 million offender profiles. We have over 1 million people that have had their DNA taken because of the crimes they committed. Insane.
Huge. So in other words, if the suspect had ever committed a crime and his DNA was entered into that system, investigators may be able to finally figure out who took Nancy. But here's the thing. The feds say they're going to input it into the near future, not yesterday, like we originally thought, which, again, I have to say I find surprising considering this is a missing persons case.
Wow. Dun, dun, dun. They're not putting it in right away, and this is a holdup, but they can't because it wasn't processed in the FBI lab, and there's other steps that have to go through to get it uploaded. And this is, again, what they were trying to avoid.
Time is of the essence. Nancy has critical health issues, but this actually may stem from sending it out to a private Florida lab that Pima County Sheriff's works with. So we'll talk about that. Actually, something interesting, too. Health issues, that may actually help break the case. Why do I say that? So the FBI says that it is now trying to track down the signal that was emitted from Nancy's own pacemaker. They're using what's called a signal sniffer. The small device attaches to a helicopter. Problem with that is because of the weakness of the pacemaker signal, the chopper has to fly low and slow when it's...
And again, I'm surprised that they didn't bother thinking that their drones would be better suited for this. Now, they have FPL drones, or, you know, here, I don't know if they have drones like that they send out to check our poles. Now, granted, Florida Power and Light's an independent company. Even though it's Florida Power and Light, it's not owned by by the state of Florida. And they have these drones, these huge drones. It's about, I don't know, 2 to 3 foot in diameter. 2 to 3 foot in diameter. They're large. They're probably $20,000, $30,000 drones. Very nice capability. Very sturdy. Rock solid, sturdy. And what they do is they take these and they employ them throughout Florida to look at our lines, to make sure our lines aren't broken, or if we have like stuff that needs to be repaired. It's just for preventative. They set them up because I remember when I was going through a lot of stalking and stuff from when I first got on here, there was a drone that was above my house, and I freaking lost my shit. Got in my car and followed that drone back to where it had to land. And I got out of my car and I made these people take out their badges and show me who they were, you know? And so I know that they have them, and I actually looked at it. I actually made a video of this event. It's on my YouTube channel. So this is a big, you know, type of drone, not the little drones that we're seeing going up in the, you know, in the air to take video of this property. We're talking about a large drone, a professional grade drone. And so those can have this box that's 10 inches by 6 inches. And it's a small device, and again, it attaches to a helicopter skid, but they don't need a helicopter skid. They can use a drone. A drone would fly closer to the ground than any helicopter could get. So I think the signal sniffer could work. It hasn't been effective. I looked at the history. We haven't found any Bluetooth heart pacemaker using this particular method. I think if we got it on a drone, it might be more effective. That's my personal take on this, just from logic. And I also wanted to say, before I get into my talking points on this new information, is a federal search warrant. We also know that when they went into that house with Zach and Luke Daly, and then there was a Zach that was in the Range Rover. Luke, they impounded his car yesterday, and that whole situation there was from a federal search warrant. We also learned that those federal search warrants are not easy to acquire. So for them to have a federal search warrant of this property, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting, to say the least. Okay, so now that we're talking about DNA evidence, because this could be the key to cracking this case wide open, the FBI says that they found a glove matching what they see in the terrifying doorbell camera footage. It contains DNA from a unknown male suspect. They are planning to put into CODIS the combined DNA index. But here's where things do kind of get complicated. As you heard, CODIS is the FBI database of DNA used to link crime and suspects. We're talking about 19 million offenders, according to this reporting, and over a million forensic profiles. So very, very large system here.
Searches, otherwise the signal sniffer just won't work, so it's limited in a way. But we've also learned that the FBI is now canvassing gun stores in the Tucson area with a list of 40 people and their photos, looking to see if any of them came in and purchased any weapons. We're not.
Did you guys hear that? Here we go. 40 people on the list. 40 people on the list.
The FBI is now canvassing gun stores in the Tucson area with a list of 40 people and their photos, looking to see if any of them came in and purchased any weapons. We're not sure who those 40 people are or how the feds made that list, but I got to wonder, if investigators have already ID'd the gun that was worn by the masked man in the doorbell video,
Wow.
they're trying to match recent buyers. And then we had this major announcement today, too. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, we've talked about him a lot. He is now clearing the air about a conspiracy theory that has dogged this investigation from the very start. If Nancy's own family was behind her disappearance. And the sheriff today released a statement that says in part, quote, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. And yes, this does include Nancy's son-in-law, Tommaso, who has been under a cloud of suspicion since the case began. But
so, guys, you guys are hearing this, okay? We've got to move on from the family, okay? Us sticking around the family is doing nothing to advance this case. The family is not involved in this. The family is not involved in this. So let's just go over some of the information we have just learned about this case. One, the glove evidence. It was found about 2 miles from Nancy's home on Campbell Road. Busy road with lots of trash along the roadway. So, and this is stuff that can be easily discarded out the window. Lots of homeless people in the area. Multiple black gloves recovered. Finding the right one is challenging. So all of those gloves have gone to the lab, and they're only talking about one glove. Out of all those gloves that they collected, they're talking about one glove. That's why I have to believe that it was, it had to have matched the DNA inside that house. Guys, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment this video. I'd greatly appreciate that as we break all this information down to you. The chain of custody, it was sent to a private lab, still undergoing quality control. FBI has not accepted the DNA submission. So what is the holdup in CODIS? It's because it wasn't processed at the lab in Quantico, and therefore additional steps need to be made to put that profile into the CODIS database. And so that has not been done just yet. And it must be sent back to Arizona state system first, because they have to maintain chain of custody. So because this is exactly why law enforcement didn't understand, and the feds didn't understand that why they are insistent on processing this all in Florida when time is of the essence, and all of these things are delaying the process. So this is being done by the sheriff because he wants to keep everything at the same lab. So he doesn't care about timing. He doesn't care about this woman. He's saying that on one hand, they believe she's alive, but on the other hand, they don't care how much time they're taking to get stuff done. We've wasted over 24 hours. We could have had results back by now. And here we don't even have the stuff entered into the CODIS database yet because of the decisions of the sheriff. So we have a delay problems. Sources call these delays unnecessary. The FBI could have processed this within a day and sent it directly. This creates a catch-up process, which is what we were discussing further. So then we're going to be getting into the investigative genetic genealogy testing. We're not quite there yet. And then we'll be going over to the gun shop story here in just a second. Again, breaking news. If you guys are just coming in, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on your way in. We do have breaking news. There are about 40 suspects that we're learning this morning on a short list of suspects that could have done this. The law enforcement is going around canvassing all gun shops in the area to find out if any of these 40 people have been in that gun shop anytime recently. So we'll find out the results of that in due time, I'm sure.
That may be cold comfort to Savannah Guthrie, who over the weekend put out another video pleading for her mother's return.
I wanted to come on and...
We don't need to see that. We've already watched it at the beginning of the show. If you guys would like to see that, please go back to the beginning of the show.
News and News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Entin. It's great to have you both here. Brian, I'll start with you. Two parts to you. A, obviously, what's the latest that you're seeing? And B, I got to ask you, why do you think the sheriff officially cleared the family tonight? Today. Either was it, did something change over the weekend? Because when he was interviewed by Elizabeth Vargas at the end of last week,
I saw
he would
that,
refuse to
Melly.
rule anybody out.
I saw
So
that.
2 parts. What's the latest, and why do you think he ruled the family out?
Yeah, so first of all, with the family, Jesse, yeah, I saw an interview with him on Friday where he actually was saying that they weren't ruling anybody out at this point. So something changed from Friday until today. We know that they've started getting DNA back. Perhaps that has something to do with it, but it was a very clear statement. I mean, it didn't leave any gray area or wiggle room. It 100% said that the siblings and their spouses are cleared.
They're cleared. Okay, folks? I mean, I know we want, but this is something different. We don't know what we're looking at here, but it doesn't involve the family, the immediate family. We'll say that, because I know we still have some investigative work to do on this Kayla Day. We haven't done that yet, so we're going to be rolling that out. I've got to make the link. I got to do the family profile and find out where she fits. It sounds like she's, partly removed. We'll figure it out.
And then called out people for being irresponsible who have, made accusations
Ashley
against them. So it
Banfield.
seems like he's closed the door on that. In terms of what the latest is, you mentioned one of the new bits that we've gathered, some new reporting, which is kind of a big deal when you think about it. The fact that we have confirmed with multiple gun shops that the FBI has shown up to the gun shops here in Tucson, and that they have brought with them a list of 40 names.
Here you guys go.
And 40 photographs of those people that they have the names of. And they have asked employees, have you seen these people? Or have you sold them a weapon in a certain time frame? So we don't know if that means they've narrowed the list down now to 40 people. Are there some people on the list that they know, almost like when you do a lineup, are there some that they know, aren't suspects? But it's certainly interesting that this is now confirmed to be happening at gun shops in the area, Jesse.
So there you go, folks. There's your breaking news. We have about 40 suspects, okay? Persons of interest on a list. Law enforcement is actively working. None of those 40 people are the family. So now we've got to ask ourselves, who are those 40 people and how do they play into this case? So with having 40 people, this is telling me several things. This is telling me I'm not really into Ashley. She's a good journalist. We'll give her that. She's a good journalist at times. I've seen her create stories. I've seen her do shenanigans, and this is my issue is when we've been in this business, because I've been in this business, not as long as she has. But when you've been in this business long enough and you've covered enough cases and you've reviewed enough cases, you can make calculated, educated guesses about where we are with the case, who is ultimately responsible. And typically anybody that comes in contact with that person within 24 hours of them disappearing or their homicide, you're a suspect. You're a person of interest until you're cleared, period. Okay. And so I think that there's a lot here that she may have gotten from her source, but I believe that some at times are calculated guesses. And these calculated guesses get us in hot water. Okay. There has been times that, we are very, very big on this channel because we weren't as clear as we once were, as we are now, I should say. And there were a lot of things that could be misconstrued. So instead of us saying, here's the facts, like you see me going out of my way to say, here are the facts. These are the facts of the case. This is what I think. This is rumor. This is speculation. This is theory. Right? I go out of my way to make sure that there's the differentiation of what truly is fact with the case and what truly is opinion, because once upon a time when I first started out, some of that stuff could be misconstrued. And so people were frustrated that stuff could be misconstrued. So now I make sure I go out of my way to make sure that you guys know exactly what fact is and what are theorizations, hyperbole, conjecture, and other things, right? And sometimes those things don't happen and it creates this vacuum. The best way you can avoid that vacuum is press conferences, press releases, things that keep people talking about the case, but keep them talking about it in a more positive light. If you shut people off, their brains get very creative. Okay? Their brains are very, very creative. The brains all of a sudden make ninjas coming out, dropping from a freaking, an alien ship onto the top of the house and teleport down into the home, snatch the person up, put them back into the, it gets crazy. That's what the point I'm trying to make. When you leave people to their own devices, the story gets crazy. So the more information that we have, the better off it's going to be. So now what are we looking at? We're looking at a gun holster. We're looking at that was found at Walmart. We're looking at a backpack that was found at Walmart. I'm even thinking that the windbreaker might have been bought or purchased at Walmart. So we see a person that's purchasing a lot of stuff at Walmart. These are new items that were purchased. Did he also go to the local gun shop and purchase a new gun? That is a great question. So we have this gun. We have this list. Law enforcement is carrying a list of 40 people, folks. 40 people. This is not the family. This is random. This is people that they don't believe are affiliated with this family that may have been responsible for this heinous crime. But the family's out, folks. The family's out. We got a list of 40 people and 40 photographs. Have you seen these people? Is what they're asking these clerks at these gun shops. Have you seen these people? Did you purchase a weapon? Did they purchase a weapon in a certain time frame? So they're looking. So they must have reason to believe that these things were purchased in a specific time frame. We also broke yesterday a very key detail in all of this, in the profile. So we're building a profile based upon, Betty towing the party line, LOL. However, we are going to be, I just got kind of caught off guard with that comment. I don't know why. Did the weapon certain time frame? So we have certain time frame of this weapon. So now that it makes me believe, did they believe that this person purchased all this stuff in a time frame? Because we know the backpack was purchased at Walmart. We know the gun holster was purchased at Walmart. Did they go and purchase we all believe that this was kind of planned or premeditated somehow. At least there is at least a theory of ours that has a premeditative tone to it of an unknown assailant. We talked about it yesterday, and we talked about it several days ago. Well, now we have 40 names, 40 photographs. They're asking if these clerks have seen these people. They're asking them if they purchased a firearm or any type of weapon in a certain time frame. And so this has been confirmed by multiple employees from multiple gun shops. Who are the 40 people? How was the list compiled? If the list is ranked by likelihood or priority, who's at the top of the list? And if some names are already cleared, have they ID'd the gun? It sounds like they may have possibly ID'd the gun. Possibly they've ID'd the firearm type from the doorbell footage, trying to match recent buyers to the weapon, and gun clearly visible in suspect's pants of that camera. And we know that they have better technology, and the technology they put out there was pretty stinking good for all of us. But they have, stuff to enhance and look at that gun. And people that are professional gun reviewers, I can't remember what their actual title name is at the law enforcement, but they're experts in firearms. They know exactly what a firearm looks like. They know that this firearm looks like a Smith & Wesson. This one looks like a Lorson. This one looks like, maybe an off-name firearm. They are the expert where they can look at a firearm and typically determine the type of firearm it is based upon different markers on that firearm that are unique to that type. So I believe that they've done that. So 40 is a very specific number, not 50, not 100. Suggests that these are serious persons of interest, and some of these people on this list may have been cleared and maybe just asking. So Nancy disappeared on February 1st. What time frame are they asking about? We don't know what time frame they are asking about, and we haven't heard. So if you guys hear any reports of the time frame that they're asking about, please let us know. You guys can send all leads, any type of breaking news information, to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you guys know my mods are the names in blue. If you reach out to them, they have my number. They can reach out to me with breaking news if you guys find anything interesting that is probative for our audience. So, we do have these things going on, and recent purchases would be most suspicious. So it sounds like they have a clear understanding when they believe all of this stuff was purchased. I wonder if they found the backpack. I wonder if they have a time frame of when the backpack was purchased, and maybe that's the time frame that they're looking at. Plus the DNA cross-referencing, right? Could this be matching DNA results to a known individual? We don't know. Waiting to see if of any purchased weapon, building a circumstantial case. I don't think they're building a circumstantial case. I think they have real evidence, real hardcore evidence. Known associates, maybe people with connections to the area, prior criminal history, previous interactions with law enforcement. So that is the behavior we're looking at the beginning of this case. What did we see? We saw their focus being on Tommaso and Annie. They were searching their home. They were canvassing their neighborhood, not once, but twice. So we know that they did take the lead of Annie and Tommaso very seriously. And it was very public that they took it very seriously. And now they're telling us it's not them. And now we're looking at their behavior, and their behavior are looking at who? It looks like, common criminals in the area, delivery drivers. But here is the breaking news from yesterday. More importantly, they're looking for a gray SUV. If you look at the two people that have been detained, there's one key ingredient to both of them. And it's the color and the make of their vehicle. One was a Nissan. But a Nissan, if you notice anything about the Nissan SUVs, like the Murano, or they're smaller, they have kind of a V'd or pointed front. A V'd or is the cousin of Nancy's side boyfriend Luke D. That's what we're hearing. But I like to make I like to look at the family tree and determine that for myself. I know that's what people are saying, but I'm going to have to look at that and make sure that information is accurate. And I haven't looked at that yet. We will look at it. I just got to take it offline because you can't see it because it has addresses, people's name. Those are things that we can't bring here unless there's journalistic purposes for it, because that could be misconstrued as doxing, especially a person that is unaffiliated with the case at hand. So I want to make sure that I look at the information before I say that it's definitively true. We have heard about it. We do know that it is a possibility, and it sounds like the cause and effect. This person was just recently picked up, which is very, very interesting. But the people that I'm seeing are random people, not anybody affiliated with the family. Just letting you know. And they're looking for a gray SUV with the pointy nose. Do I have it? Is this one it? There it is. So if you guys can see behind me in the circle red, that was taken from the video cameras, the video footage. There was a car in the driveway. It was further down the driveway, closer to the end as you pull up. It looks like they just stopped and parked there and walked up. So we do have a vehicle that is presented in the images, and it has been located. And it does look, you can see that the tires right here kind of look like those tires of that Range Rover. They look like more of a low profile tire to me. So we are getting some images, folks. It's not like this is all dead in the water. We are getting some images, just not what we need. But when we went back, and it was at first we were hearing about a gray pickup truck. And then I remember Carlos' car was taken in for processing too. And I remember there was a photo of it. And I realized that his vehicle, although the rims do not match what was observed in the Ring doorbell camera, the Nest doorbell camera, that it did have a gray vehicle with a pointy nose. And so did that Range Rover. It had the gray exterior with a pointy type nose, front end to it. The tires on that Range Rover, in my opinion, match what's observed in the camera view more so than Carlos's vehicle. So I kind of understand, but they're looking for a gray SUV, folks. If you look at both of the people that were pulled over, what were they driving? A gray SUV. Period. So we have a gray SUV as being a major integral part of this story. The family has been cleared. The investigation of shift. So in a stunning reversal, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos officially cleared the entire Guthrie family as suspects. This is huge, folks. Just days ago, he was refusing to rule anyone out. And the question is, what has changed? Obviously, DNA. I believe DNA, phone data, and I believe, they've been able to confirm the alibis of everybody so far. In my opinion, that's what I would presume. Daily Mail interviewed the sheriff. 100%. No one is cleared. That's what they said Saturday the 15th. Then Sunday the 16th, complete reversal. Family officially cleared. Chef calls out irresponsible accusers such as Ashley Banfield for creating this chaos around the family members. The DNA's results have come back. Alibi verification has probably most likely been complete. There may have been pressure from NBC and Savannah personally to say, look, you've got everything you need. Either clear us or tell us what else you need. So there could have been some pressure in this high-profile case to clear the family, too. We can't forget that. An investigation shifted directions. New leads point elsewhere. That's what it appears to me, is that the reason why we're dealing with this is because the new leads point elsewhere. They're not pointing at the family. Once upon a time, they looked good for the family. Now they don't. Okay, now they don't. So we've got those gridlocks coming in. Let's listen to what Brian has to say in this little segment that I've clipped out.
Irrelevant. But what I do know, again, is that they've gone to several gun shops with a list of 40 names and 40 photos trying to figure out if those people have been inside the gun shop. So these aren't just like pictures where they're saying, do you know who this person is? They have the names. They just want to know if they've been in the gun shops in Tucson. So that's new, and that's pretty interesting. The other thing that's new today is that the sheriff has cleared the Guthrie family as being suspects in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The siblings and their spouses. And let me read you the sheriff's statement because it was a pretty intense statement. And this is pretty rare to see during an active investigation, a statement like this where people are outright cleared. And he hasn't done this in the past. I mean, he sort of alluded to it, but remember he said in the past, like, everybody could be a person of interest, but this is what he's saying now.
So again, we just had Daily Mail just had an interview with him just on the 15th. Today is the 17th. Yesterday was the day that we realized all of the family was cleared. It was clear. It was made. The statement was made at the end of the day, but this was after the DNA had come back. I think it's something in that DNA has provided enough of a profile that was probably the last little nugget that they were waiting for to clear the family. And that has come back. I do believe that the DNA there is unlinked to the family. I believe something else is going on here. Whether it was somebody that planned this to try to extort money out of the family or something like that. I do believe we are looking at something that's obviously not a burglary gone wrong, in my opinion, but clearly not something that the family was involved in. So we need to start thinking outside of the box with what scenario would meet that description. But by Sunday, yesterday, there was a complete reversal, and the sheriff did, in fact, clear the entire family, the 3 siblings and their spouses. So a total out of all the people out there, 6 people have been fully vetted and fully cleared from any culpability. And I also want to bring this back to the people that are on, that are a part of Sebastian's army. Remember, they've still never cleared Katie or Chris after 2 years. After 2 years, they still have not cleared them. And just in a few weeks, Pima County Sheriff has no problem clearing family members. So I just want to put that into perspective for you guys. You know, I just want to put that into perspective for you.
He said, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and our victims.
I disagree with that. This is a joint investigation, and I know people are trying to mince words, but this statement, in my opinion, was provided with the go-ahead from the feds. So I know people are, oh, this is just from the sheriff. No, this is from the investigative body. The sheriff is the one that presented it to us, but this is from the investigative body. That includes the FBI, okay? I do not believe the FBI is looking at this family, folks, okay? So I want to be very clear. I know you guys have got your eyes on this family, and you guys can keep looking at them if you want to. If your heart so desires to keep beating this family up, go for it. But I'm saying that we need, if we're going to be effective in this case, we need to broaden our horizons. It's not the family. I don't know how much more law enforcement can tell us it's not the family before people start getting on. It seems like many people are on board. Something else happened here, okay? There's no doubt about it. I do not think that this is a burglary gone bad, because like we were just, I can't remember who just posted it, but they don't, statistically, they don't take the people with them, okay? This does not define a burglary that I've ever seen, a robbery gone wrong, okay? So there's still something more here. It's just that the immediate family's not involved in it. Now, if we have a niece, a cousin, somebody down the bloodline that might be, that's a different story. But this family is not involved. The children, Annie, Savannah, and CAMRON, and their families are not responsible for what we're seeing here. So we've got to move on from that. I'm not going to keep harping on it because law enforcement is saying they're not it. So there's something else going on here, and we have to trust somebody in this because they've got DNA. It's not like they're just, they've got DNA, folks. The DNA has come back. 2 different types of DNA. They got DNA from the property that doesn't go with any of the housekeepers, the landscapers, or the family, and we've got the DNA on one of the gloves, one of the 16 pairs of gloves that they found that have come back. I believe those 2 things have been linked together by DNA. And I believe those things right there match nobody. So I think that it's pretty clear the family is not responsible. People are like, well, they could have hired somebody. It's still, you're going to still have some type of information about that. You can't just hire some random person off the internet and not have any type of linkage to that. Okay? That data trail would be there. There's not. So I think that it for those that want to continue to harp on them, go ahead. Obviously, you have every right to look at whoever you want to look at. I just personally think that they're telling us that we need to look in a different direction. And I think that we need to look in a different direction. There is the answer here. The truth is somewhere in this. The truth is somewhere in this, but I don't think it's the family. And I've kind of struggled with that myself, especially once the image came back of the masked gunman. I did struggle with that quite a bit. So was the early focus on the family a mistake? And I don't think it was. I think that they needed to resolve that issue. As much as uncomfortable as it was for the family to go through, they were very cooperative, even allowing them to go into the house without a search warrant. And I tried to explain to you guys that's a critical piece of information as well, because if law enforcement truly thought that this family, that Annie or Tommaso, were suspects, they would have made sure they had a warrant to go in that house. They would not have gone in that house without a warrant. So that was my first indicator way back then that they weren't focused on Annie or Tommaso as being culpable in this. And I even vocalized that to you guys. You guys weren't very happy to hear that, but I tried to explain it. So, early lockdown theory. So, investigative 133, Annie, Nancy's daughter, seemed to be the early focus. Her car was towed 2 to 3 days under warrant. We all heard about that, which really kind of helped support Tommaso being a suspect. Her mail was taken, her house and property searched, and a search at Nancy's house ended after 30 hours. Standard investigative procedures usually focus on the family first. Statistically, family is involved in most cases, and we know that. We've gone over those statistics here on this channel. Annie was with Nancy the day before, and Annie's car had been at the scene. So those are the reasons why it could have been a gang initiation. There's other answers here. There's other answers here. Clearly, it's not the immediate family. The confirmation bias problem. Investigators can lock onto a theory too early. They can look for evidence to confirm, not refute, and can lead others and can miss other leads while focusing on the family. So you don't want to get too focused on confirmation of bias, and you want to let the evidence, speak for itself as well, and let it focus the case. But many experienced officers have retired in the last 5 years from Tucson's sheriff's department, which has a higher than normal turnover rate. So that's been kind of complicating this case as well. And of course, the current homicide team has an average of 2 years of homicide experience, not very experienced at all. So the inexperienced investigators are making assumptions faster, and this could cause a lot of problems. So let's just go over the ransom note developments here and how all those played in before we go over to our next segment. And it says, basically give me $4 million of cryptocurrency by Thursday, or $6 million by Monday, whichever you prefer. We got payment plans over here, right? The deadline came and went, never heard from them again. They never provided proof of life. They never did anything that we would see or that would be accustomed to a ransom type of a scenario. Different senders to Harvey at TMZ. I have information. They want Bitcoin for $67,000. Then it went up to $100,000. And if they would have just turned in the information to law enforcement, they would have had the cool $100,000, no questions asked. So this whole note of "you're not taking me seriously" by note 3, and then the note 4 over the weekend where it said, "I saw Savannah's latest video. My heart goes out to her. I cannot turn myself in, leaving my family unprotected," yada, yada, yada. Just bullshit, it sounded like. So who is sending these letters? Are they trolls from overseas, or are they trolls here? Obviously TMZ is capitalizing on these bunk ransom notes that they have to know at this point are bunk, but they're still running with them just to create controversy, in my opinion. So we have a Friday night raid recap of a woman and a young man being removed from a home so they could search it, another one being detained at a nearby parking lot, which is that Zach and Luke being some people that appear to be hot. At least law enforcement appears to be hot on their trail. A silver Range Rover was towed, all released, no arrest. Very concerning because this was the second time they did it. Damage to the mystery car, a car with front end damage in the driveway covered in blue tarp, towed away on a flatbed truck. Turns out State Farm ordered the tow. The car totaled in a crash last week, and it's completely unrelated to the investigation. So we got some new details, some breaking new details on the vehicle that was towed. It sounded like the reason why it had front-end damage is it was in a crash. State Farm is the one that ordered the tow, not law enforcement. It is not being brought in. It's not being processed for any forensic. It sounds like it's an insurance claim related to that car that was towed from the house that they raided with the mommy and the son. So Brian Enton's sources say they're still investigating 8 evidence from the raid. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Michelle just gifted a Bull Arm Betty membership and went to Skybell. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome aboard, and I'm a love machine. Ow! Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. So they're going through the electronics. The DNA analysis isn't complete yet. They do have a profile. It sounds like they have a profile from the home. They sound like they have a profile from the glove. It sounds like the profile is being uploaded into the CODIS system because they use the lab in Florida. It, of course, is causing delays in a case we have no room for delays. So let's get on with this. aspect of it. And I think we have, yeah, we got a couple more little snippets, and then we're going to be closing out the show.
Case. And then he goes on to say, to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So it's kind of an emotional statement that he's giving, and he's clearly fed up with people calling out the Guthrie family. And it's been an issue just in general with this case and other cases I've seen. I mean, people start putting photos on social media claiming that people are suspects, and it can really do a lot of damage to their...
And that's why I'm so incredibly cautious. Everybody says that we are one of the first channels that point the finger at somebody. It goes through a lot. We go through a lot of research. Like with Chris and Katie, we went through a lot of research. I never just came right out of the woodwork saying, oh, I believe the mom did this. I believe. As a matter of fact, I didn't even believe it. I thought that a stepfather snuck back from his job, snuck in their house, snatched him out of his bed. That was my very first theory. And my theory changed. And just like this theory, my theory here was that maybe somebody or some worker inside their home was involved in this. You know, my theory has changed because new information, comes about. When new factual information comes about, you have to assess your theories and see if your theories still bode with the new factual information. If they don't, they got to go. You can't keep harping on the same one because you absolutely know it has to be there when the evidence isn't supporting it. And so that's what we've got. We've got a situation where the evidence is not supporting the family. So the family is cleared. The investigation has shifted entirely. They're now looking at strangers, a 40-person list at DNA that does not match anyone in Nancy's inner circle. This changes everything, and it tells us whoever took Nancy has no personal connection to her, which makes this even more terrifying, folks. Because law enforcement is telling us basically there's no connection to her. They can't find any connection with the people in her circle. That's scary for me. That's entirely scary for me, folks.
A lot of times they can change their minds depending on where the investigation takes them. But some big key factors of what happened on day 1 and day 2 that may have led to something called confirmation bias. We're going to talk about that in a minute as well. And then the DNA. Everybody's waiting on the DNA from that glove from 2 miles away. A glove that looked like the glove on the ring cam. Does it match? Does it match the DNA inside the house? Is it going to take them anywhere? Is it just someone's glove? I'm going to talk about why it's taking longer than it should and if that's such a bad thing. You might be surprised by what you hear. First and foremost, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. Thank you so much. Would you do me a solid and subscribe? It would really help me out. I'm an independent journalist now, so it's really big if you subscribe for me. I don't think it's really hard, and it doesn't cost a cent, and it's not hard.
There you go.
And also,
I'm an independent journalist now, too, so you guys need to put your DNA on that thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Don't forget, go in the chat, comment, say hi to your friends, subscribe, but more importantly, hit that thumbs up button. That thumbs up button is the best thing you can do for any channel. And it's just courteous. If you come over here and hang out to get some information that somebody researched, you should at least tell them thank you. Hit that thumbs up button. They botched too much. I believe they botched a lot in the first 48. There's no doubt about that. But have they recovered from that? I only time will tell.
Thank you to my sponsors for allowing this podcast to be
Thank
possible.
you to my audience for allowing us to do this.
I mean, let's face it, I cover some pretty dark stuff,
I forget
right?
to tell you guys,
a lot of dark
thank you.
crimes out there, including the one we're working on. But let me tell you, some of the scariest stuff is happening quietly behind home address. Cool. And suddenly, to straight to these companies and the reporting in Tucson. I mean, Brian's been killing it. And let me tell you, the reporting today that the FBI has been going store to store all around Tucson with a stack of 40 photos and 40 names.
Crazy.
They're
Breaking
taking
news.
these names and photos, the file, to the owners and the workers in these stores, and they're asking them, have you seen these people in your store? Not just have they bought something, have you seen them in your store? Have they made a purchase of a weapon in your store? Look, they got a really good look at a very cheap, what looks like a $10 Walmart gun holster. And it's a revolver holster, but it's an automatic weapon that's stuffed inside it.
Yep.
So they got a bit of a look at that. And what they're doing is the gumshoe stuff, right? This is the hard work, the shoe leather detective work, to just go and ask. Maybe someone will recognize these people. But I have got a really interesting comment that's coming up about 40. Is that actually effective, or do you actually end up making it more difficult for these store owners because you're showing them so many
40.
photos? That's coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, because when you hear Spencer Corson,
That is a good perspective. Is it overload? I mean, is it overload to go through these photos? And how would that help, later down the road with an identity or something like that? Did they get footage? Did they get store footage? Store camera footage while they were there to go through and look and observe? So what do we really know? We don't know a lot, folks. We don't have it all. But there are 40 suspects.
weigh in on that, you're going to give your head a shake. Also, big, huge news. The sheriff putting out a statement today. Very strident statement, clearing all of the Guthrie family, the kids and their spouses. Very important. Let me read the comment of the statement word for word. It is a statement from Sheriff Chris Nanos on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Quote, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism.
I think that went directly to the woman that is reading it on her script right now. Just personally saying, I mean, yeah, we all knew. I mean, in all fairness, I told you guys at the very beginning, Annie and Tommaso are going to be persons of interest just by their proximity. She was over at their house that night. They drove her home. They were the last person to see her. Yes, absolutely. They're going to be a person of interest. But then when you have somebody like Ashley Banfield going out there and saying, oh, my impeccable source with law enforcement that's connected to this case, it's the son-in-law. Well, we all kind of knew, he would have to be a person of interest. But by adding that caveat, he's the guy. Well, a lot of people lost their shit and just dove right on in. They dove right on in. And unfortunately, now you're finding out how detrimental that was. Look at what you guys did to his family. Look at what you guys did to his friends. All because you thought it and she said it. I'm just saying there's a better way, folks. That's all I'm saying. There's a better way that's not so damn mean. Because if you guys were over there or reaching out to this family or saying horrible things to this family, you're part of the problem. Even if you're in my chat, right? We can stay in the chats. These chats, when you guys talk in the chats, that's what these things are for. It's for you to express yourself. But when you go outside of these chats and start reaching out to the family and start harping on the family and start saying nasty things directly to the family, that's too far. Because when these cases break, we never know where these cases are going to go. We've seen these cases take a complete 180, and you've got to be able to 180 with the case, and a lot of people can't.
Interestingly, NBC had two sources last night that said that authorities are leaning away from their original suspects in this case. Well, in order to lean away, you would have had to have leaned in. And I think it's interesting that the sheriff uses this language when, in fact, it was the sheriff's department and the FBI that towed Annie's car on day 2 or 3. I got the news on day 3, on Tuesday, after the Sunday disappearance.
They were absolutely
under
looking
a warrant and
Hey,
had it
Freebird.
processed. And then also stopped the search on day 2 and returned the scene. Said the scene is done 30 hours after the disappearance. All of that seemed very odd. And then to see all of the activity over at Annie's house, taking her mail, searching inside, searching around the property, searching the neighbors, all of these things, it stands to reason, as most law enforcement experts will tell you, people who've been in law enforcement, that that is the first place you search. Is it the last?
Yeah, she keeps trying to cover her ass. Again, like I said, calculated guess. You know, when you've been in this business a long time, you can make calculated inferences. Some of them pan out, some of them do not pan out. I think she was making a calculated inference that Tommaso would have to be a suspect. We had talked about it, but it didn't mean we go up here and we just, kareem the person. Katie and Chris, they've been under the microscope. I mean, their lives have been turned upside down, and they haven't been cleared yet. The court of public opinion, their behavior sucks. It stinks. It's a very red flag. Their statements have contradicted. Their stories forever changing. You can identify that there's something wrong there. Okay, I stand on my hill with that. I believe the mother killed her child in that case. I really do. I believe Katie Proudfoot lost her shit on her son for whatever reason and killed him. And I believe she did something with him the next morning. And I believe Chris has been helping her cover it up ever since. That's kind of where we're at in the case with that. But again, that's my opinion. That there's nothing factual, because we don't have an officer or law enforcement body that'll actually even investigate the case anymore. They went out, worked it 8 days, and they say, oh, we couldn't find the kids, so let's go back to the office and sit in the office for the next 2 years. It is an absolute joke. They are a joke. Sumner County Sheriff's Department is still the worst outfit that I've come across yet. This is coming to a close second. I will tell you that. This case here is a close second to being the worst law enforcement that I've seen, with the taking the tape down, putting it back up, constantly changing of the story, not being very cognizant of us wanting information and running with true stories, and then constant walking back, constant putting stuff forward, constant walking back. It is a shit show in this case, and it's not a shit show because of the mainstream media or the social media. It's a shit show because of their law enforcement body, period. So we're in a different situation, but at the end of the day, they're still, no matter how you look at this case, they're still investigating. They're still looking. They're still out in the field. They're still searching based upon reports that they're getting. They're not stepping back. They're pulling people into their office. They're making it public. They're letting people know they're working the case. We got nothing but silence. After April. Nothing but silence from Sumner County. Nothing but silence from Sumner County. And it's been that way since they stopped searching. They've never looked. They've never taken the reports of phone pings and did targeted searches like they are doing here. They've never executed warrants or towed vehicles like they're doing here. So at the end of the day, Sumner County still takes the worst of the worst in law enforcement that we here on the Bullhorn Betty show expect absolutely stellar behavior from our law enforcement partners across this country. We expect them to be searching for these people like we would expect them to search for us. I tell you guys all this all the time. I am constantly in my county because I'm making sure my sheriff has everything he needs. Why? Because if I go missing, I want to make sure my sheriff got everything he needs. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't stalk my sheriff like somebody else is going missing. I stock my sheriff with employees and services and equipment as if he's got to come looking for me. Okay? I'm not worried about y'all. I'm not worried about y'all. But if I go missing, I know I got helicopters. I know I got ground penetrating radar. I know I got planes, fixed planes. I know I've got speedboats. I got everything. I got a big old magnet. All I gotta do is put some metal on me, and they gonna hook me and bring me back home. Okay? I'm making sure that my law enforcement body is stocked. I fight for them to have whatever they need in this county, because one day they may have to come looking for me, and I don't want them having to go and ask to borrow something, right? You need to come search for Bullhorn Betty. You got everything. Remember, Bullhorn Betty fought for all of that stuff, so you can come bring the cavalry to find me. Bring the cavalry to find me. All right. And Rick knows when things get tough. You know, he doesn't mind bringing the U.S. Marshals in. He'll be saying, you know what? She's been a boil on my ass. Well, the whole time she was here. Now she's gone. She's still a boil on my ass. That's what Rick's going to say. That's what Rick's going to say. All right, guys. That's the show. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for hanging out with me today to learn a little more information. Guys, 40 people. But you know what? There is a silver lining in all of this. And that is we were looking at an entire world as being suspects. Me, you, everybody, right? Even the president of the United States was a suspect in this crime. Okay? And now we're down to 40. We went from hundreds of millions of people down to 40. I think law enforcement is doing good. Have they recovered from dropping the ball and the mistakes that they made up front? Hopefully they have. Now, just because they get to the finish line doesn't mean that the defense attorney is not going to have a field day with this case. The defense attorney is going to have a field day with this case. Okay? So it's when we get to court that my knees are going to be knocking. Okay? I'm going to be very nervous when we get to court. So everybody was. Even Bullhorn Betty from Florida. I was a suspect. I had eyeliner on that morning. You know, I don't own a ski mask, but you know, I did swing by Chlamydia's house and stole her pink shit shower blower. We definitely know it ain't a toilet scrubber. I need to stop. I just need to stop. All right, guys. You guys have a great day. Bless you. You guys are free to be you. You are free to be you. You guys go have a great day. We will be back later this afternoon with breaking news information. I believe that we're going to have some new activity on this case today. With the DNA coming back, with the DNA possibly getting into CODIS, I truly believe the reason why this guy took the camera, we'll see if one of my theories works out, but I believe the reason why the person took this camera and took her is because they didn't want to leave any of their DNA or biological evidence behind. I think that's exactly why both of those things are missing. Okay? And because of that, I truly believe we're dealing with something we've never dealt with before. But at the end of the day, I think that he was a criminal. I think his DNA is in the system somewhere, because I believe he's done something like this before, not to this magnitude. He was entirely comfortable. One of two things happened. He was either entirely too comfortable on the outside of her home because he's used to creeping at night, or he was entirely too comfortable on the outside of her home because he had already incapacitated her in the house. He was entirely too calm, cool, and collected on the front of her porch, outside of her front door, in the middle of the night, in my opinion. So we need to look at all of those behaviors, in my opinion, to derive what truly happened here. But I have a funny feeling that image that we're seeing is from 212, not 147. Anyways, only time will tell. We will put this stuff together when more information comes out, but this is all the information we have. So we're plugging the information in. We're building the case, folks. We're building the case. All right, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. And more importantly,